Yeah. Live and direct from the new planet Earth, where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashion-over dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss, and you ain't gotta give a about no cold.
Tell me who unleashed our animal instinct. Why the op standing there tickle pink? Have a drink, no more liquor. Got a poison. One thicker, one gangster, one hole in the desert for the snitch. What happened to the cold? What's this?
Welcome to a new season of the Franchise Podcast, where we cover all things sports and entertainment from a Las Vegas perspective. As you see, there's a lot of things that have changed this time around, and not just Joe's new hair. But as you see, we're in a new location. I just want to give a big shout out to the Foundation Room located at the Mandalay Bay for giving us the opportunity to host our show here weekly. I am your host, Naishan Zaragoza, joined by our two founders, Joe Arrigo and TQ. Gentlemen, long time no see. What's good?
Glad to be back. Been a minute. Look, just like Nye just said, got a whole new thing going on here. Brand new season, brand new location. Shouts out to the Foundation Room. We want to introduce or reintroduce our audience to our brand new host, Miss Naishan Zaragoza. She's back. Thank you for returning. A lot of our day ones from the beginning, and y'all might remember, you might not remember, we actually started out the show with Nye back before COVID, and she's back. So we're happy to have her.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the reason why we took a little longer to get back is because we wanted to get Nye ready to go. We wanted to finalize this deal with the Foundation Room. I want to thank personally Johnny Coppola, Charo, and actually Nate Longshore, who is a tight end coach for UNLV. Nate and I were having dinner up here in July, and Johnny came to me and said, hey, I want you guys to do your show here. So it took a little bit longer than we wanted it, but we wanted to perfect it for everybody. So that's the reason for the delay, but we're back. We're glad Nye's back. She can kind of keep us in line. Plus, she, better looking for all the guys watching. They'd rather see her than us. So, it is what it is.
You guys have pretty faces, too. As you guys know, I interned with the franchise right outside of college. They brought me on this past October, so we're ready to get the ball rolling. We got a lot in store for y'all. But in the meantime, y'all, let's get the action started because we got a lot to unpack today. Let's start with the showdown that just happened in the Elite 8 Women's Tournament. Guys, Caitlin Clark, 41 points on LSU. It was insane. I was at the edge of my seat. Yeah. Tell me your guys' opinions. Joe, Iowa beats LSU defending champs 94-87. Did Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes exceed your expectations, and what led to Iowa's victory?
I don't know about exceeding my expectations because Caitlin Clark, she's got that Mamba mentality. Like, I expected her to come out and ball. I mean, first of all, Angel Reese, 17 points, 20 boards. Yes. Like, she did her thing. Fouled out, which, I mean, a couple of them fouls were ticky-tack.
Absolutely.
But Caitlin Clark in the third quarter took over, and that's what separated the game for me, was watching her do that. There was a lot of Kobe-ness in her, the way she would attack the basket, how they would front her, how she would get the ball. But the thing that nobody wants to talk about, and Kim Mulkey said it, was there was two other players that scored 20 points for them that LSU couldn't stop. Wow. So if you got two scoring 20 and Caitlin dropping a 40 burger on you, and credit Iowa. They got revenge. I mean, last year, this was a Final Four matchup, and now you have them playing in a great Elite Eight. Yeah. Two of the best teams, two of the best players in the country. One is going to win the Naismith Award for women. I mean, it was everything I wanted, and 12.3 million people watched this game on Monday or Monday night. I think that's a record. So I don't know if they exceeded my expectations, but what they did is it made it way more interesting for me to watch than the heartbreaker that came on after it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, look, Caitlin Clark is as advertised. She's box office. She is not the greatest female basketball player of all time.
Not at all.
She is not that. I know everybody's always ready to just make the buy calls for everybody, but man, Cheryl Miller was something different, man. I ain't just trying to be a homer. I'm just saying.
I.e. stand up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a different type of basketball. I think Cheryl was more athletic, more powerful, more dominant.
Yes.
Right? On the inside. Her defense Just across the board, she's just 100%.
Not to interrupt you, but do you know who Caitlin reminds me of? Dinah Taurasi.
Yeah, that's a much better comparison.
Yes, sit out there in 3, knock them down,
Yeah.
And she's got that little
She
anger.
may
to
have
her.
a better shot. Her stroke is wet.
Than Diana?
Yeah, she may have a better. She might have a better shot. I don't know, but I will say this much: we're talking about GOATs. The GOAT of women's basketball is still playing, and it is not Caitlin Clark. It is Geno Auriemma.
Okay, explain it. Because how is he a GOAT?
Because consistency, right? When we talk about the other GOATs, what do? They win all the time. They win a certain way. Then when the chips are down, when it gets hard, they still find a way to win. There is no way that man with that team in the condition that it's in right now should be playing for a Final Four right now. But bottom line is, Caitlin Clark made all of you and all of us forget about one thing, one Miss Paige Beckers. She is the real deal, and I can't wait to see those two actually go at it against each other. The difference between LSU versus Purdue, I mean LSU versus Caitlin and Caitlin versus UConn is that UConn's best player is gonna play her straight up.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna attempt to.
I mean, they gotta guard each other.
Yeah.
In the LSU game, Angel Reese ain't coming out there to deal with.
Now
Caitlin
that you
Clark.
bring that up, I do want to transition over to that because women are making history right now. And so many people who have never watched college basketball, especially women's college basketball, are now turning to this because these athletes, these women are so elite. Like I tweeted the other day, like I love to see the women shine. And now that you mentioned Paige Becker, she had an incredible game. Number 3 UConn beats USC 80-73. But not only that, Juju Watkins at the age of 18 years old is breaking the leading scoring record amongst freshmen in the NCAA history. Yeah. She was super emotional after the game. TQ, I'm going to start with you since I led with you with the last topic. Where did USC fall short?
I just kind of feel like USC is on the come up. There's going to be some turnover in that team. They got the number 1 ranked class coming in, and we'll be talking about Juju like this in a year, 2 years from now. They just came up against a buzzsaw in the name of Geno Auriemma. He had a masterful coaching performance. Every time Juju got the ball, they blitzed her. I think they understood that with all of her greatness, the one weakness was probably the level of experience in a game with the stakes that high. So every time she got the ball, they blitzed her. They had her out of sorts. And, she still had a good game, but I think she just kind of came up against the puppet master, man. And I also think that, Paige Beckers has something to prove because she feels like she was Caitlin Clark before she got hurt. Yeah. So, I feel like they had to get that. Everybody who's getting their wins on Juju, get them done now because it's not it's not going to happen next year and the year after that.
With UConn, they did a great job of just playing defense. Like USC couldn't get their offense in sorts at all. Right. They were out of sorts. There was a lot of hero ball. Yeah. A lot of girls taking shots that they wouldn't normally take. And if they got in trouble, they looked for Juju to bail them out. Right. Juju, to me, I think in 3, if she stays all 4 years, which she might, she'll break Caitlin Clark's record. She's that talented. She may be, as a freshman, the best freshman female basketball player I've ever seen. And Dinah Taurasi's right there. Mia Moore. Maya Moore, Shamika Holtzclaw. Yeah. I mean, you can go down the line. Candace Parker, but Juju's different at her size, and she could bring the ball up and shoot. But your point about being well coached, that's the difference right there. Absolutely. Paige Becker had a great game, but Juju she couldn't hit shots at the end of the day. And I like the fact that she was emotional after the game. To me, that shows that she cares, and she knew that at certain points in the year she carried the USC team. But this USC team, it wasn't like they were more athletic than anybody. Right. They were stronger. They were more physical. You had wings that could shoot. You had big girls down low that could body you and play good defense and do their job. Everybody knew their role and they played their position. I love seeing USC back in a prominent female and women's basketball role because it was like that in the 80s. Yeah. With Cheryl and the McGee sisters and not Cheryl Swoops. Swoops went to Texas Tech. Lisa Leslie, she coached him. She played with Houston too. I forget her name off TAM. Cynthia Cooper. Yeah. You know, like that was a team that, like, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. And people don't talk about Lisa Leslie being one of the GOATs either. I mean, she scored 100 in a game.
Yeah, she was a beast too, man. I just I tend to agree with you though. I want to see, you know, Caitlin Clark might only be on this pedestal for a couple of years, because boy, if Juju stays healthy, whew.
Okay, I want to ask you guys.
Easy.
I want to ask you guys this: Ice Cube offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to go to play in the Big Three. Now, WNBA, their maximum contract, their first year contract is $240,000 for 3 years. What would you guys do if you were Caitlin Clark? Would you take the $5 million?
Yes.
Or would you do the WNBA? Because it's a trick question. It's a trick question.
I would.
No question. I'm going to the Big Three. I'm gonna cut my teeth there for that first couple of years. And I heard Jay Will say something on First Take, or one of the shows I was watching him on. Look, if you're in a bargaining situation and that's the floor, that's the first contract, that's what they offer you, what is your counter offer? Like, okay,
yeah.
5 and give me some stakes.
I like that.
Give me some stakes in the take, right?
Yeah.
If you got media partners that have come to the table that say you want to pay me $5 million, all right, pay me $5 million plus a percentage of the TV deal that I enrich for you when I come and play. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that because once she's done, that's what, 2-3 years, gone to the NBA to the NBA and to the WNBA, and what she's done is raise the level of the Big Three to a point where she has all the leverage in the world. So
and don't forget the Olympics is coming up, and she's going to make endorsements from playing in the Olympics as well. That's what I'm saying. It's a trick question because I believe, isn't the Big Three in the offseason of the WNBA? So she really could do both technically and play the Olympics.
That goes against the CBA for the WNBA as it is presently. She can't play for both teams.
That's trash.
Very much so.
All right, guys, so I know the ladies is making a lot of noise, but we got to touch base on the men's.
Yes.
Number 11 seed, North Carolina State, beats its longtime rival, Duke. This was the largest audience in a televised Easter telecast, in over 11 years. It was crazy. It was intense. I want to know your guys' opinion about that. We can talk about Final Four, who your predictions are for men and women. Joe, you can lead off with that.
About Duke or the Final Four?
Duke, and we'll go into the Final Four.
Look at anybody that beats Duke is good with me.
Facts.
Duke is Dookie. I hate Duke basketball as much as I hate the San Francisco Giants, Boston Celtics, Minnesota Vikings. I despise them with every core fiber in my body. And it's a great story. You know, NC State, it's a good story. But they're going up against a buzzsaw in Purdue. Edie's is a dude. Oh boy made some money this tournament. And I say that because coming into it,
you didn't even know if he's an NBA player.
Yeah, he's just a big guy, but he showed that he can dominate on both ends of the floor, and he doesn't get in foul trouble, and he's relatively fresh. You know, first 2 games of the tournament, he was coming out with 6 minutes to go in the second half, so he's got a game and a half each time. So I mean, he has way more fresh legs than what NC State's had to go up against, and they're a big guy. I tell you, this is a very intriguing matchup. You know, because. Do they have Valvano magic with this NC State team like they did in '83?
Quite possible. I think, there's a thing in America, man. We love to see the everyday man succeed, right? And my man for NC State, he just don't look like he should be as good as he is.
Eddie Winslow?
He's just and his personality, the way he plays ball, the flair and the fun that he has on the court, I think that it's just draws you in, man. I mean, I'm a North Carolina fan, right? And they took UNC out in the tournament, and that's when I kind of looked at him. I say, this could be a matchup problem for a lot of teams. And they had lost so many games straight leading into the tournament, and then just went 5 games, 5 days, and just smacked everybody. Came out of it the winner. They wouldn't even made the tournament. Yeah, they wouldn't have won the ACC. And the fact that they did it, I think it gives them a puncher's chance. But I think just the nation is just, they're enamored with big man, bro. And it's like the fact that he's getting football looks and all of this now,
yeah, they're saying 4th round. If he came out, it'd be a 4th round pick.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy. But, at the end of the day, I felt like throughout the season, it was a couple of teams that could win this thing. Now I feel like it's UConn and nobody else. I feel like I feel like they just head and shoulders above the rest of the field that's out there right now, because of matchups. They win the matchup game, and they're a better squad than they were last year.
And that's as far as men's. So for women's, who's your pick?
South Carolina to me is the UConn men's of women. I feel like they're head and shoulders above everybody else. I feel like they got a hell of a chip on their shoulders. But once again, I'm gonna always give Gino Auriemma his due when he has a player like Paige Beckers. I feel like anything can happen in that game.
Yeah. But
that's who I'm picking. I think that's the national championship. I'm picking South Carolina on the women's side, and I'm picking UConn on the men's side.
So for the women, I'm also going to take South Carolina, but I think, and it will be against UConn. I think Gino's going to do whatever he did against USC, against Iowa. I think that's where. But Iowa's coach, I like her. I seen her on Pat McAfee. Oh man, she was turning. Look at my bro partner. It's the trophy, the Final Four. Oh, I love her, man. I can see why the girls like to play for her. For the men, as much as I would like to see NC State in the national championship game, I think Edie's is too much. I'm gonna take Purdue, and I know your boys in Bama. I know your Bama boys. I know you're excited to see them in there. So you diehard Crimson Tide guy.
First of all, it is a travesty. It is a slap on the face of college basketball to allow these people in the Final Four. And now they're all over everything, acting like, listen, when I tell you the truth, these people have never watched a basketball game before. Yeah. They've never seen a ball go into a hoop. Absolutely not. Let them tell it. Oh my God, they've been following this team.
So are you talking about the tournament as a whole or Alabama in general?
I'm saying Alabama in general.
Which is crazy because this is his birthplace.
It's a football. It's the birthplace of football. They got lucky. They beat North Carolina because they got lucky. Now they're in there with their ugly outfits and their stupid hats, and you're about to lose, and I'm glad.
I agree. They're going to lose to UConn. And this is where I'm going to root for chaos. I would like to see Purdue upset UConn for the national title. I just want something different.
How about a little wager?
I ain't betting nothing.
Yeah,
I ain't betting nothing. You crazy. Boy, you crazy.
Alrighty, guys. So by the time next week, you guys see this next show that we have, the national champions are already going to be decided. So that's going to be exciting. Women's Final Four is going to be in Cleveland this upcoming weekend, and the men's Final Four in Arizona. So it's going down. In the meantime, we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about the Raiders and all the biggest offseason moves. This is the Franchise Podcast at the Foundation Room. Welcome back to the Franchise Podcast. Now we're going to reel it back into Las Vegas, talk about the Raiders. Obviously, we haven't done the podcast in a very long time.
Yeah.
So our audience probably is stuck months ago. Obviously, our new head coach, AP, new GM, Tom Telesco, they've been making some major transactions. Yeah. Before we get started with all the transactions that we've been making, I kind of want to get your guys' opinions in regards to these new hires and what we're doing right now.
With the very last podcast, AP was the interim head coach, and I said to you I wanted to see how this team plays, and when Mark Davis, people can say what they want about Mark, but MD does a lot of good things. And what he does, one of the great things that Mark Davis does is he sees a mistake and he doesn't like to repeat it. And he sees something or somebody's a problem and he'll alleviate them early rather than hang on to them late. And he did that with Josh McDaniels. He did that. He recognized the unity and the unification that AP brought to the locker room, listened to his star players, and kept the man that was best suited for this job. Now, is he the best X's and O's coach? No, he's not. That'd be Jim Harbaugh. There's a couple other guys that are better. Bill Belichick, maybe Mike Vrabel. But he is the right person for this team, and that's the difference. With Tom Telesco coming in, Tom, you can say what you want about Telesco and his spending. Look, at least he was paying to keep his best players where they were with the Chargers and rewarding them for good play. He drafted well. So now that they're both on the same page, I really like this duo of AP and Telesco. I think we got to wait and see when the draft comes what they do in the draft. But overall, how they kicked off free agency and how they put this staff together. I love AP keeping Marvin Lewis on staff and bringing him on. Joe Philbin wasn't a great head coach with Miami, but all the players love him and he's respected. Those are key qualities. And I like the fact that they've established a culture and they're not backing away from it. For me, I like what the Raiders done so far when it comes to that part of the offseason.
Look, now that it's over, I can go ahead and say it. Oh, I was scared of the Chargers. I've been scared of the Chargers for a while. And that's because of Tom Telesco and what he did with that roster.
Wow.
The roster was awesome, top to bottom. They were the victims of a dumbass head coach hire. That was just stupid.
Ownership too.
Bottom line, I mean, the man is a great defensive coach. He was not a head coach whatsoever. So, you know, I'm expecting, you know, him to have the same effect on this Raider team. The best part I feel about AP getting the hire is that, and I've been calling for the same thing. Y'all know, you've been watching, you've been here. It's like a broken record. I've been calling for this for years. We need to play defense. When you got to play 4 games against Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't make sense to try to score with them. Beat them up. Put them on their ass. D them up. From the time AP came in to now, hopefully throughout this offseason and into next year, this is a defensive team.
Yeah.
We saw how the defense performed last year. We were at training camp. We said it leaving training camp. Defense looked like they was leaps and bounds ahead of offense. The Raiders had the dogs. When Spillane came in, when we first saw him, we was like, oh, okay. All right. We saw another year of Divine Diablo, right? Another year of the safety. My man, I can't think of his name.
Merrick.
Yeah, another year of Nate Hobbs and Kuntz.
Yep.
Like, it started to come together. Now you go out and you get the big dog.
Yep.
Go out and get a Kristen Wilkins to put on that line with Max.
Yeah.
Kuntz and the rookie. Man, it ought to be... The Raiders ought to have one of the better defenses in the league. And I believe that's how you sustain success in the AFC West as it's presently constructed. You got to do it with defense. Hopefully, they can't get up to get their quarterback of the future. I hope they pick the best defensive player available at the time when they pick.
Now, speaking of defense, let's touch base on that because that was the biggest offseason move, I think, just period. Raider Nation made some noise with that. Christian Wilkins, former defensive tackle for the Dolphins, is now with us. $110 million contract, $85 million guaranteed, one-man wrecking machine. And then, obviously, you've seen the addition of quarterback Gardner Minshew, who's going to be competing with Aiden O'Connell on a 2-year, $25 million, $15 million guaranteed. Gentlemen. We are currently at the 13th pick in the NFL draft, which is about 3 weeks away right now. Joe, what should we do with that 13th pick, and what would it take to jump up?
All right, so I want to be logical about everything, okay, folks? I'm not the one that's going to be overly emotional and, oh, they need to trade everybody to get Jaden or Caleb. Like, Caleb, yes. Caleb, I would give up a lot more. And I've known Jay, if you don't know, I've known Jaden since Jaden was 12 years old. He trained with my brother's company down in the Inland Empire. helped him in high school a little bit with his recruiting when he was at Cajon High School in San Bernardino. That's my guy. His mom, Gina, love her to death. You know, Peanut, my son, was one of his receivers in 7-on-7 when they separated teams. Jay's my guy on a personal level. But to give up what is needed to get to first of all, I don't think Washington is going to trade the number 2 overall pick. If he's their guy, I think the first 2 picks are locked in. New England's a different story. I think they may be open to move some things. I just don't think the Raiders and Tom Telesco are going to give up what's needed, which will probably be 3 1s, 3 2s, and a couple 3s.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and albeit we've talked, I said that I think the Raiders are close. They're not that close to give up that much for one player.
Yeah.
So I think you have to look at that 13th pick and say the Raiders have 8 total picks in this draft. That's not a lot. It's really not. You have one more than one extra for the whole draft. Trade back and get some picks. Accumulate them. Because if you do that, now you're building. So at 13, unless the top offensive lineman slides down,
Yeah.
to me, I trade back, get some picks, and then I can maneuver the draft a little bit. Now I can play chess with the draft. I think that's what Telesco's going to do. I don't think you're going to see him move up for the quarterback because everybody right now wants to talk about Michael Penix, right? 4-4-6.
Not everybody.
Well, I'm saying, but that's
A lot of people, though.
a lot of people.
He's really been the talk of that.
Yeah, but not everybody.
You've heard a lot of Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah,
right?
not everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you
Not
haven't.
you.
Okay, you. But the analysts on Michael Penix, he ran a 4.46. Michael Penix, he's had 4 injuries that were season injuries. Now, I will say this, as quick as I say that, I want to point out the last 2 years, he wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
So, but he had a good offensive line. The Raiders need a right tackle. He's left-handed.
Yes. You bootstrap yourself there. You gotta pick 2 guys because you picked that one guy.
100% correct.
That's just not, that ain't the way. This is the thing. When you're that close, if you look back to, imagine if we didn't start the season with Josh McDaniels. If we didn't start the season with Josh McDaniels, probably a playoff team with Aiden O'Connell as the quarterback.
You think so?
Yes, I absolutely believe so.
Even
But
with
it's slow process.
Even with the faults that Aiden Connell
Even with
had.
the faults, that was probably a playoff team playing on wild card weekend last year if they would have started with AP.
Okay.
And when you're in that position and you're that close, you know what you need to pull out of the draft? You need to pull out a starter on your best side of the ball. The best side of the ball for the Raiders is defense. If you can't get your quarterback, you're right, it takes 2 to tango. If the guys up top, if the first 2 ain't playing, then it ain't going to be no game played.
Real talk.
Period. I get it. So if that being the case, who can come in and start on day 1 of the NFL season on the defensive side of the ball? A cornerback. A real outside cornerback. We got all of these tweeners, and they're great. You can shuffle them in and out, blah, blah, blah. They need somebody on the outside, another Jack on the other side of it. That's what I would do with that 13th pick.
Yeah.
I would move back because if I move back, I'm not assured to get a starter. And I need somebody that is going to start. And all of those that run of cornerbacks right there, especially one Terry and Arnold.
Yeah.
Like,
Carry on.
That's a guy right there. So that's what I would do with the 13th pick. If he's there, I'm getting that corner. Or if there's a more highly rated defensive player available at that pick,
Yeah.
I'm standing pat. I'm getting that guy, and I'm expecting him to come in and start.
I like your point with Terrion Arnold because he is amazing. Like if you guys watched his press conference at the Combine, it's just he's smart, he's knowledgeable, he's explosive, he's coachable, and he made the transition from safety to cornerback. So he's not only that versatile. Joe, I want you to put your GM hat on. You are Tom Telesco right now. There are many needs of the Raiders, okay? We lost 7 players in total, with obviously the biggest one being Josh Jacobs. What are you doing? How are you attacking this? We're just going to kind of do this just a little bit because we're going to touch base with the draft in the upcoming
This is
weeks.
going to be terrible.
No, what I would do is I'm when I come up to my spot at 13,
Okay.
if the top when the top 2 linemen is not there, I am going to look to move back because this cornerback class, you got Arnold, Murphy, and then there's Kool-Aid, which is he's not as physical. It drops down, and then there's a really good rest of this group that you can get in rounds 2 and 3 that are probably graded about the same. So what I would do is I would look if my top corners are not there, or the top offensive lineman, because I think you can draft a lineman. I think you can get corners later. I would look to trade back, accumulate picks, get the best defensive player at that point, and then go get Jordan Travis from Florida State, the quarterback, in the 3rd round, because I'll have a couple picks to play with. The reason being, you talk about having a quarterback of the future. This is a guy that was most likely going to be a Heisman Trophy finalist, if not winning it over Jaden. He's a guy that led Florida State to an undefeated record, and because he was out, they didn't let them in the playoff games. This is a guy that has had no injury history other than this year breaking his leg. It's not like he's had ACLs and elbow injuries and shoulder injuries. This is a guy that you can sit for a year or two, because I believe Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter. You don't pay him $15 million guaranteed for him to not start. Now, AOC, he had a good year.
I think it depends on camp, man.
See, I look.
Depends on camp.
He beat playoff teams in the NFL. This is his first real chance to start. Let's say you have him for 2 years, essentially.
Whose first real chance to start?
For him to make it his team. He took over for Richardson in Indianapolis. That was Anthony Richardson's team. This is an opportunity for him to make this his team, a lot like Baker in Tampa Bay last year. This is him betting on himself.
Now, Magic started in Jacksonville, brother.
But it was still Trevor Lawrence's team. It was never Baker Minshew's team. So for him, Gardner, excuse me, see, got me discombobulated. But with Gardner Minshew, this is his first opportunity to have this as his team, to cement this as his team. You have him for 2 years. Jordan Travis is backing him up, let's say, because AOC will have value. You could probably get a mid-round pick from him at that point. Now you have this young guy coming in, and you talked about it with Keyshawn Nixon over at Super Bowl. Green Bay does a great job of letting the guy sit for a couple years and then go ahead and getting the putting him in there like Jordan Love. Same type of deal right here. Have him sit for a year or two. Now you have a star that can come in and play, and you build around him for a couple years. If not, then in a couple years you can go back and look at a quarterback. So for me, trade back, accumulate some picks, and then get your quarterback in the 3rd round.
I'm less worried about the offensive line than I am worried about the defensive secondary.
Okay, Tom, let's go.
And I don't believe this whole big run of cornerbacks. Just because it's a lot of them available, it doesn't mean that the quality, the great quality is available.
Yeah.
How many of them had to go up against 2 NFL wide receivers at LSU that are both going to be drafted? Probably first day.
First round,
yeah. Right? Not many of them. It's a couple of them. One of them is Mr. Arnold. So what's the second guy? Guy Murphy played for Toledo. Who do they play? I didn't look up. Bishop Gorman? Come on, give me a break. Give me a break, man. Give me the guy out of the SEC that you have to be a dog to go. You know, I hate the school. I absolutely hate it.
You talk about him a lot today.
You hate a lot of things.
I hate it. I hate him. But the bottom line is, when it comes down to the system, when it comes down to strength and conditioning, best in the world. When it comes down to the expectation of what it takes to be great, it's instilled in them from the time that the man walked into their parents' house, right? So I want that guy. If that guy's there at 13, I'm grabbing him. I'm sitting down. I'm talking to him just like old St. Nick would.
Yeah.
Look, you coming here to start.
What if he's not there?
Period. If he's not there, then I'm taking the best defensive player on the board. I can get offensive linemen by the boatload later on and just see which one of them work. I got 2 right-handed quarterbacks. I got a great left tackle. So I believe in order to win in the AFC West with them 2 quarterbacks, the Chargers and KC, them boys ain't going nowhere. They're probably going to get better than they are now before they get worse. You're not going to beat them with offense. You're going to have to beat them with defense. You got to make them uncomfortable, especially when you got Patrick Mahomes. There is a mandate to allow Chiefs offensive linemen to hold on every play. Bottom line, that's a brand new NFL rule. If you didn't know, it's in the rule book. I'll find the page and text it to you.
The book of squeeze.
You got to get some defense.
The book of squeeze is very large.
Yeah, man. Hey.
I like your point of view with it of shoring up the defense because we already can do that.
Yes.
But I will say, Raider Nation will be very angry to see the Raiders do absolutely nothing in regards to the quarterback position, even though he has Gardner Minshew's back. We
100%.
get that, but just the overall, thinking long-term, not even short-term.
I
Shoring
like
up the
Jordan
defense
Travis
is definitely
late, though.
long-term.
I like Jordan Travis late.
It's not even late. 3rd round is like still day 2.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, not with your first round or your second round.
Yeah,
I'm
just a little later in it.
And we didn't even talk about Christian Wilkins. Now, you brought him up briefly. Look, that man is going to make everybody's job easier.
Absolutely.
He's going to make Max Crosby's job easier. He's going to make AP's job easier. He's going to make the D-line coach's job easier.
I mean, Christian Wilkins is my reason for saying what I'm saying about the first round. He's the guy. That move is the reason why I say get the best defensive player available with your first pick, because that was a hell of a move. That was a hell of an offseason.
That was crazy.
That was Telesco dropping dick. That's exactly what it was.
He put it on the table like, what?
He said, what's happening?
Yeah. So, you know, I just feel like that side of the ball, man, we so close on that side of the ball.
So
let's get it there.
I shared this with Hammer and Gus on when I was on Hammer's house, and then when I do the Locker Room Daily. Every day, Monday through Friday, 3:30.
Plug it up.
Period.
Okay, so I shared a text, and I got a text a week before free agency that said, hey, I think I may have sent it to you too, Christian Wilkins is our #1 priority. And so when it happened, and then it got quiet, and I'll sit back like, oh, when it gets quiet, that's when it gets loud.
Yeah.
And then when they did it, that opened up our Slack. You got the message, and we're going back and forth, and it was a good day. It was a good day for me overall. Good couple minutes for you.
I mean, hey man, you know, I feel like that Josh Jacobs thing just could have been worked out better than it was, but
Yeah.
I get it. It's the nature of the business. If I'm a running back, if I'm coming out of college as a running back, I'm going to speech class, acting class. I'm getting all the extras I could possibly get. I want all the endorsements. I want to be a clown. I want to know me, because I know that I cannot get paid playing football.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I love the addition of Christian Wilkins, because it's really about to change the game at the line of scrimmage for these. They're about to create havoc. And
Yes,
I think
they are.
as a Raiders fan and as a journalist, I'm going to speak from both sides. This is the biggest offseason move we've made in years. Absolute, one that actually where you're like, dang, we really doing the dang on thing. But speaking of college, I want to touch base on UNLV, because they have their first spring showcase this upcoming Saturday, which the franchise will be there.
Yes, we will.
Our very own Mia Green covers them. Joe has been to a couple of practices. Second-year head coach Barry Odom. We're going to see what they're working with on Saturday. Joe, what have you seen at being at the practices?
I was at I'll talk about the last one, Saturday's practice, where it was rainy. Was there, and they're faster, they're more explosive, they're more pissed off on defense, and they're more competitive. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, you lose Jaden Mayava to USC, and then that was another issue behind the scenes that I will not talk about publicly. Doug Brumfeld medically retires, so there's a quarterback issue. Hodge comes in, Hodge Williams, and he can play, but he doesn't have that strong arm. And you got Ricky White, an All-American that caught for 1,400 yards. You got Jacob DeJesus, an All-American kick returner, slot guy. And then you got Kane on the outside, who came up from Texas, who's a sub 4.4 guy. You got guys that can take the defense deep. So where's that going to come from? Well, it's to come from Sluka, who comes from Holy Cross, who was the man there, led them to a bowl game. And he can throw the deep ball a little bit better. The running game is going to set up the passing game this year. And defensively, you're going to love this. You're going to love the fact that they're deep at the defensive line, but they're not done adding, I believe. Their secondary is way more competitive. Cam Oliver he had 2 interceptions on Saturday during the scrimmage. Tony Grimes, that noob out there locking down one side. You got the Jono back at safety. I mean, it is a different defense. The linebackers are back. Marcel McDuffie looked good. Jackson looked good. I'm excited about the team. Now, this may be a year where they're a better team than they were last year, but the record will not be indicative of that, if you know what I mean.
This is the first time. Normally, sometimes in April, every year, here goes Joe with all of his just slurpage.
Joe's like a bottle.
UNLV.
Joe's sucking the bottle like a titty.
Oh my God.
That's what he does with UNLV.
Loves them.
See
Right?
That's cold-blooded.
And yo, he's such a salesman with it, right? So every year I just get all pumped up. I'm down there on the field with my camera.
You are a salesman with it.
Man, I'm
You really
expecting
are.
to see this just all world UNLV team, and then it's so last year I was so upset with all of the changes and all, because I felt like, we was close to Arroyo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt a difference, right? There was a change between the team with Tony and the team with Marcus, and I felt like it was a premature firing, right? So I got in my feelings a little bit. I kind of stayed away from the program, and I just kind of used Joe as the eyes and ears.
Yeah.
And he was finally right for the first time. But I'm not falling into the trap. Not falling into the trap now. And what I am going to do, I'm not staying away from the program either.
Yeah.
Absolutely going to start going to practice and checking it out for myself, so we don't have to listen to the slurpage the whole while, and I can kind of see what's going on in the field, you know, on my own. Look, what I expect, well, what I know from this past season is that Brennan Marion's offense had people confused. I go from one side to the other on the field with my camera. These ears, like, guys was just, I mean, just upside down, kicking themselves because they didn't know what was coming next. Now they got a whole season of that on film. So I do not expect the same amount of surprise, for lack of a better word. I'm expecting other teams to be able.
You think he showed the whole play? That playbook was limited because the quarterback couldn't run.
Look, you know better than I knew. I get it.
I'm just
All I'm
saying,
is,
there's a lot of tricks up Brennan's sleeve.
Maybe so. I'm not saying not saying you're wrong. All I'm saying is the confusion last year played a lot into UNLV's wins.
Look,
I don't know if it'll be that same level of confusion this year.
I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. And I don't think he gets enough, and he's gotten a lot. But Barry Odom and the job Barry has done, he empowers young coaches to coach. He bringing in Brennan after Petrino leaves, Mike Shear with that defense who got better as the year went on.
Yes.
Watching him at practice, it's almost like a proud father because he's able to sit back now and say, these guys are doing this and that.
Yeah.
And the leadership quality, there's a certain gravitas with Barry that I personally, there's a big difference that I see. So, look, if I'm Eric Harper, and I've said this to him, I said it to him Saturday. If I'm Nepo, I said it to Nepo too. I said, hey, y'all better get the brink truck ready because they're coming for Barry. They're coming for Barry, and they need to pay Barry. And really, I would like to see more with NIL as well.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. That tight end group, the best in the Mountain West. Nate Longshore's done a hell of a job with them. So, again, I'm not saying it because Nate's the homie. I'm saying it because, literally, there's some big boys that can... Kelo Balunge, good Lord. At 6'8", that boy can move. And he started to show out a little bit last year scoring. After he got his first touchdown, it was downhill from there. He was just like, you can't stop me. Third down, clutch. So... credit Barry and his staff for everything that he's done, and UNLV is going to have to open up that pocketbook because you don't want to lose him to anything.
Facts. Agreed.
Yep. You're going to see the franchise live at Allegiant Stadium this upcoming Saturday. Y'all, it's a free event, so you don't have an excuse not to be there.
Come on out, man.
Come out.
Come
we'll
look at
be
Mia's
there.
shoes.
Meet us.
Mia got some shoes for you this week.
Mia probably got the shoes and the pink. She goes all out, fashion queen. All right, guys, we got to head to a quick commercial break, but when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit of Laker action, a winning team that cannot seem to go up a little bit even more in the Western Conference standings. We are the Franchise Podcast at the Foundation Room. Welcome back to the Franchise Podcast. Now we touch base on the Lakers, a team that has been winning a lot of games, but have they shown us postseason potential? The Lakers are 8-3 over their last 11 games. TQ, are the Lakers contenders or pretenders?
Look, I'm just like I was saying about Gino Auriemma, just like I say about Mahomes and Brady and Jordan. Look, when you have this level of guy on your team, when you have a LeBron James on your team, and you are alive for the playoffs, you are a contender. That's the bottom line. Look, with the Lakers, it's championship or bust. Me and this man have watched this team win 11 championships in our lives. That's a whole decade and some change of chips.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff that's happened leading up to now, it doesn't really mean anything. Whether it's the play-in game, the play-out game, the play-down-the-street game, nobody cares about any of that. Get into the playoffs because you have LeBron James and you have Anthony Davis. Everybody called him Mr. Glass. Look what happens when he's not. Look what happens when he has a full, healthy season. That's the best defensive player in the NBA right now for this year. Next year and the next 12 years behind it, it will definitely be Wembanyama. But for right now, it's AD. This is his time. So I feel like there's no team in the Western Conference outside of the Denver Nuggets that just, oh yeah, we get to play the Lakers. Yeah, 7 games against the Lakers, we're gonna kill them. No, 7 games against the Lakers is gonna be hard for everybody except for Denver. Look, Denver just has the Lakers number. That's just the bottom line. It's a matchup nightmare. They're younger, they're more athletic. Jokic is just a lot to deal with. And the Lakers, the perimeter shooting for the Lakers, it's wishy-washy. You can't really trust it, down the stretch. That being said, yes, they are contenders because it's 7 games. And the great thing I feel about Darvin Ham is the thing that everybody was on his head about at the beginning of the season and throughout the season. Yeah. All of these mixing up lineups, mixing up starters, mixing up sets, who plays this, who plays that. Here, the bottom line is you're going to have a gambit of different ways to play to be able to compete in the Western Conference playoffs. And I feel like the majority of this Laker team has spent time during the season doing those things. So it should come to fruition what he was trying to do. Just getting everybody in versatile sets with versatile lineups that are going to switch from night to night and series to series.
I think it remains to be seen if they're contenders. Health. Because you got one guy, and he's one of the 3 or 4 greatest players of all time. To me, it's always Jordan, and then you make the argument if it's LeBron or Kobe or Kareem. I think those are the 4 to me. And it's not that I dislike LeBron. You know I like LeBron.
Yeah, but you kind of
but
I'm on some weird shit. Right?
No, I'm not. What I am is you want consistency. I want accountability. Oh my God. And I hold him to the same standard as I would hold Kobe, or as I would hold, and I said it with Shaq when Shaq was playing, covering them. Like, hey, I love Shaq. That's my guy. But man, like at some point,
that's apples to oranges.
No, it's not.
Shaq is not 52 years old and the best player on his team.
He's not. LeBron's AD's the best player in the Lakers right now.
Man, look. Okay, fine and dandy. Are you going to win anything without LeBron James? You're not even going to win a series without LeBron James.
Look, I'm not saying, but I want to see.
And the bottom line is, you're not talking about age.
I want to see health from this team before I can say they're a contender. Look, they're just now getting guys back. Gabe Vincent has been gunning, ski masking a paycheck. Oh, he's played in what, 4 or 5 games?
What health got to do with LeBron? You were just talking about LeBron. What are you talking about now?
LeBron missed time because of injury.
He missed time because he's old. What are you talking about injury? The man is old and tired. I don't expect you to be able to go out and throw
because you older than
old and tired. That's why I'm telling you what I know. When you get old and tired, you're not going to perform the same way. And what do you have to do? You have to preserve yourself. We don't need LeBron playing meaningless games.
But see, the problem is, I personally feel if you play in a playing game, that's more minutes to LeBron, who you want to rest. That's not what he said, right? Yeah. You want LeBron to rest.
It's 1 extra game.
So what?
2 extra games. Minutes. Who cares?
86 minutes, 96 minutes.
It's the playoffs. LeBron is supposed to be ready for put him in tip-top shape for the playoffs. They made a new rule that started the playoffs early. The playoffs are the playoffs. Play in, play out, play down the corner. It's the playoffs. Be ready for that.
I want to see them healthy in there. And then if they get Vando back, that'll be huge. That's huge. They got Vincent back. That should help D'Lo. And people want to talk about D'Lo. D'Lo's been playing great all year.
Balling.
He's had a couple games. He's earned another contract with LA, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, like he is solidified.
Well, not yet.
No, yes, he has.
Let me see what happens in the playoffs. Because he will disappear in the playoffs. He's shown his ability to do a disappear.
The last couple games was Golden State last year, but the series before it, he carried them.
I mean, okay.
You know,
Let's
or was it
see.
Denver? He disappeared, but Golden State he outplayed them.
Let's see.
Whatever it was, like
You know what Golden State is? Old and tired.
Hey, you see Steph cry when Draymond got kicked out the game last
Man,
week?
listen, man. You know what? Look. I don't like the Warriors. I'm not
He's
a
a
Warrior
problem.
fan, but that made me feel some kind of way.
In what way?
That bothered me.
For
Why?
Steph or Draymond?
It bothered me for Steph. It bothered me for Steph.
'Cause he's fed up?
It's one thing when you're going up against another team.
Yeah.
It's worse on you when you're the leader of a team and you see the potential of your players and they just keep doing dumb shit. That team is a shell of itself without Draymond Green playing his particular role. His particular role probably doesn't exist anywhere else on earth in the game of basketball except for that particular team. And that particular team, he plays his role well when he's there. He's the glue. He's been the glue. And just the shenanigans, man, you just get tired of it.
Yeah.
Them people are fighting for a playoff spot. They can't have Draymond getting kicked out of the game. You know why? Because Steph is old and tired.
Well, here's
and
the thing.
He needs help.
When does that fall on Draymond? Because he knows this, but he just don't give a flying
It all falls on Draymond.
You know what I'm saying?
It all
Like-
falls on him. And I feel like those are
100%.
the type of tears that come when you feel
Frustration.
betrayed.
Yes.
No Diddy.
Frustration.
Nobody's talking
No.
about anything but everybody's talking about the frustrated. Everybody's saying blah, blah, blah. The word betrayal. That's the part that really sticks you in the
But
heart.
it's like incident after incident. Like
Yeah.
you are the problem. No one is the problem
Fact.
but you.
Fact.
Like it's ridiculous. But speaking of betrayal, okay, before we move along, did y'all see Kobe Bryant's dad, Joe Bryant, sell his
replica ring.
replica ring? It was an identical ring, okay?
Yeah.
Kobe's first championship.
Yeah.
It frustrates me. It really frustrates me.
Okay, I
How
want to
low
know
do people
why.
really go though?
But you don't know. We don't know what
We don't know the story.
financial situation they're in because NBA players
We
weren't
don't
paid
know.
like that back then. So it was worth $950,000, so almost $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be in some financial hardship.
And there's
But
been
is
stories
it a
out there
reason,
we don't.
though? Your son passed away. That was his first. That was the only ring that he gifted his dad, and thank the Lord he did, because if he gifted him all 5, it would be crazy.
It was a replica.
But-
I mean, my son
but still,
would have phoned me from heaven like,
That's-
"Pop, you better go sell that ring."
Wow.
Yeah, Joey would have been like, "Dad, hey, you need it.
Go get that money,
understand."
Look, I'm one to never judge or look on anyone's situation, but I mean, if you've been following the Lakers for a really long time, you've always known that there was
Yeah.
problems with his parents and
absolutely.
Vanessa and etc.
Yeah.
That ain't none of my business. Whatever. Anywho, back to the Lakers remain at the 9th seed. The regular season ends April 14th, 2 days after it's the play-in tournament, and then the playoffs.
Yes.
Look, the Lakers need help. They need the Kings to lose a couple games.
He just had to get something else in.
No, they need help. I don't want them in the look. Because no, he's right.
Right. I'm transitioning
No,
to the next
damn that. Damn that! I'm pulling the boss card right now.
I'm transitioning to the next topic.
No, I don't. You're right. It is championship or bust. And if they have to play that playing game, I think it's less likely they win the title. That's why, damn it, somehow jump the
Close
damn
your thoughts,
Kings,
jokes.
jump
You
the
have to
damn
move on.
Kings, get to like that 6th seed, and let LeBron rest a little bit. But
That's not happening. They're gonna go in as the 9th seed, and they're gonna be in the play-in tournament, and I feel like they're gonna win it.
All right, guys, one more quick commercial break. Stay tuned because we got something super special and exciting for you guys called the Meme Machine. It's where we pick a popular meme and we break it down. Can you guys guess what it is?
This section was brought to you by Coldwell Banker Premier Realty. Coldwell Banker is a service-driven, highly productive team of professional sales and support people who are dedicated to consistently providing superior real estate brokerage and related services, setting the industry standard of value and excellence.
All right, guys, welcome back. This is the Franchise Podcast, live from the Foundation Room. Guys, it's time for the meme machine, and you probably guessed right. We talking about them Diddy allegations, because yes, your boy got caught up. TQ, I'm going to wait to go to him, because he is an artista. Okay, we're going to start with Joe on this one. Can you break the allegations down for our viewers? And give me your opinion.
Well, when we heard Diddy say, take that, take that, take that, we never knew what it meant until now. I mean, that's why Biggie probably had one eye looking this way and the other eye looking at Diddy at all times.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Combs, Diddy has been accused, allegedly, of sex trafficking, running a whole, basically like with other entertainers, Meek Mill. You know, if you guys heard the audio of that, allegedly, if it's real or not, you don't know, but that kind of, you know, and there's been other,
sus.
yeah, it's not little sus, it's hella sus.
It's a lot of sus.
And there's other artists that have, like, he's basically groomed. Justin Bieber, Usher was mentioned in there. You know, with Cassie, there was a sex scandal.
50 Cent's baby mama.
50 Cent's, yeah. I'm a team 50, so I'm whatever.
I'm team 50.
But then if you look at, and we've talked about this for years, but you look at when he started Bad Boy, when he was with Uptown, there was 5 people. When he started Bad Boy, it was him, Andre Harrell, Heavy D, Al B. Sure, and then Kim Porter. Well, Kim passed away mysteriously, and that was his kid's mom, and there's already been allegations of him doing things to her. Andre Harrell, God rest his soul, you're one of your close friends. Andre passed away unexpectedly. Heavy D passed away unexpectedly years ago, and Al B. Sure was in the middle of writing an autobiography, and he went into a coma mysteriously.
Crazy.
So everybody that's
Greg Mack, Black Rob, the list goes on.
yeah, Loon, they all been to jail. Biggie dead. I mean, so everybody that's been around him has been either in jail or dead. You know, J-Lo stashed the gun. The lady said Puffy shot her, not Shine, when he shot her in the face. He just had a way of getting out of things. Well, he must have pissed off the wrong person behind the scenes, because the chickens are coming home to roost, Bobby Boucher. And they're coming home to get him. Diddy got his 2 houses raided in an affidavit. Young Miami, 50s baby mom, and another woman have been accused of being sex workers for him and drug mules. A drug mule of his got arrested allegedly. And then there's a new thing. Instead of saying pause, which has been said for years, everybody says no Diddy. I mean, something sounds suspect. That's why you heard it a little bit earlier. So, you know, for me, look, I liked Diddy back in the day before I knew all this stuff. And then working in radio, for me, it became like you hear the stories. And you're like, ugh. But he still made some cool music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He produced, well, other people produced, but he had the role of producer on it, right? But as he got older, like, I was like, there's something weird about him calling dudes daddy, like on shows, and like trying to take guys shopping. Like, what part of the game is this? You know, like, so, you know, for me, like, if he did do it, I hope he goes to one of the most worst places in hell he could possibly go.
Oh,
if it's true. If it's not, then he's going to be one of the richest motherfuckers in the world, because shit, that's a lot of allegations. But Squeeze, like, I mean, this is your wheelhouse, bro. This is your industry. You know what I'm saying? This is your
industry.
Like,
I mean, look, I'm not the guy to yap, so I'm not going into the deep details of anything that I know. But I've worked on a couple of artists that were signed to him. I don't like the way the dude treats people. Period. Point blank. Every time I've been around, anytime I've it's just always just. I don't believe in treating people bad. Like, it takes nothing to be kind.
Yeah.
And he just has always seemed to get off on, you know, the downfall of those beneath him. And those kind of people, I just feel like karma is coming for you, homeboy.
Yep.
And then, you know, I have my beliefs, let me just call them that, on how the greatest rapper of all time left this earth. Mm-hmm. And I have held on to those beliefs since it happened. Mm-hmm. And I will hold on to those beliefs to the day I die, until I see or hear something that takes me away from those beliefs. And I don't think that there's anything as strong as what I've heard and was told that brought me to those beliefs.
Yep.
So you got to pay for that kind of stuff. I know some lives of some young people who have been ruined by him and his actions. And I am just itching to see what happens next. If he's done everything that he's been accused of, which I know some things that he's done that he hasn't even been accused of yet. You know what I'm saying? He needs to suffer, man.
Do you think that money and power can cover something up like that?
Yeah, it depends on who you know. It depends on who you know, and it depends on, you know, I feel like if a monster brings you into prominence and you become rich and powerful, are you going to go back and bite the monster?
Hell no.
Doesn't make sense, right?
Zero.
Because if you go back to bite the monster is going to show himself as a monster. And that's what I feel like here. It's like you have been placed in the position that you were in by some powerful people, and you're not showing them the proper respect that you're supposed to.
There's a lot of like hiding in plain sight. You know, we were friends more. We were like lovers, like brothers, play fight under covers, whatever the line was. Meek Mill saying, "Don't be mad at me, forgive me for what I did with Diddy." I mean, there's a lot of things that are out there, and for me, I just hope, for the sake of Kim and Andre and Biggie, Pac, everybody that's been affected by it, those that if the people that he was assaulting and trafficking, I hope to God they get their reckoning, man. Like I pray for that, because that's not cool for somebody if they've been sexually assaulted to not, you know what I mean? Like, and at the same time, you know, and on a lighter note with it, like it brings good content for us. It gives me a hell of a lot more jokes. A lot more jokes. And I love how Mace handles it too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should handle it the way he handles it, because he's one of the ones that have had to suffer under that.
Man.
And it's like, it's, you know, don't get me started. I said to myself that I'm going to keep this light. I'm going to keep this first meme machine cool, because I got some real hate in my thought process.
All your subs on IG is...
Oh, man, listen, man. Been waiting on this thing to happen for a long time. I knew it was going to happen before, you know, sooner or later. And like you say, hopefully these chickens come on home and...
It's really, what is the price of fame? Like, that's really what it has come down to. In 2024, y'all, it's only April, and things is going down.
Cat Williams ain't lying so far.
Things is going down.
Yeah, but listen, it's a devilish business, man.
Yeah.
The music entertainment business is just like, and you know, I got a God-fearing family, right? I got parents and grandparents, uncles and aunts that set a foundation of you know, believing in my Lord and Savior before I became a singer. Yeah. And it was just, you know, it was so many of the things that you face with
crazy
that you understand as evil from the beginning. And so many people don't have that foundation. And some of the things that people have done for fame, right? It's not always just to be famous. Yeah. Some people come from nothing and they need something to take care of nothing. You understand what I mean? So it causes them to make these decisions when you don't have that foundation, when you don't have that base. It makes it easier for you to do these things. And when you do these things, you basically write your name in blood on the worst contract that you could possibly sign. So, you know, it's just the music business has been festering under some black hands, or I'll call them some white hands.
Yeah.
No Diddy.
And Diddy and a couple of other ones are products of this whole thing. And that thing is dying now, literally. And all of this is now coming out.
News has been coming out every single day about this,
crazy.
like for the past 2 weeks.
I just think of R. Kelly right now. R. Kelly in jail, like, come on, let's go, let's make some albums.
I got a seat warm for you. All right, Jimin, on a lighter note, before we close up the podcast, I want to know what's new. What's been happening in your guys' lives?
Well, I mean, the the Locker Room Daily is the new show that I do every day. The only time I don't is if like there's something that preempts it. So if there's like March Madness, no one's gonna watch it. So let's be smart about it. But 3:30, I try to have a guest on. Every Wednesday is Raider Wednesday. So when you see this, go back and check it out. JT the Brick is scheduled to be on. And you always have the open invite. You do too. Come through anytime. And honestly, man, everything with franchise, there's a lot of good things, and I want to give a congratulatory to Mr. Jackson, who is the new director of the NIAA. He was longtime CCSD director of athletics across the board, and he's a forward thinker. Donnie Nelson did a phenomenal job. I can't thank Donnie enough for being as gracious as he was for all of us at franchise. But I think Tim's gonna take this to another level. The fact that he's a fan of franchise too really makes me smile. So congratulations to him with everything with that promotion, because I think it was long overdue. So that's for me, it's just working that, you know.
Yeah, for me it's a little bad word called taxes. And that's what I've been doing for the franchise for the last couple of months. Taxes. Look, we got a company here to run. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been doing. I've been running the company. We started our ad program. So we'll put links here on advertising with us on the site and on our shows. That's happening right now. We have a couple of new products. We have franchise studios where we bring the podcast to you. You come to Las Vegas, you're in your room, you want to do a podcast episode, give us a call. We'll bring the lights, we'll bring the cameras, we'll bring the audio equipment, and shoot you the best episodes you've ever seen. We're also out shooting track. We're out shooting soccer. We're out shooting volleyball. And we're for hire. So we'll shoot you guys the links at the end of this and inside of the description on YouTube for you to come work with us. We are here. We are for hire. Advertise with us. Our site is doing well. Our shows are doing well. And it'll be a great place for your business to get out there in the city of Las Vegas.
What about you?
I've been like perfecting my craft because
Nice.
I wake up every day and I have this like eager desire to be great.
Nice.
You know? And it hit at an older age, you know, but I don't know, like I feel like just my relationship with going closer to Christ and just trying to be good at what I do. So whether that be watching as much sports as I can, but actually learning and understanding the game on a different level, or like with you guys doing our rehearsals or transition. So my life has been a lot about work, but it's been good and I love it. I really, really do. And I'm excited to see what we have in store for this entire season, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Let me say something to y'all. Stay out my DMs asking about this woman. If I see any of you dating her, if I see any of you in her text, if I see any of that, we're going to have problems, all right? Understand.
Yeah, I get that.
Enough.
Thank
all
you.
the time. Hey, what's up?
Bruh.
Stop. She's busy working.
I am busy working. I got
no
time.
Diddy working, but she's busy working.
We're going to run that.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, put that alert notifications on because we're about to bring you some good content.
Yeah.
See ya.
Live and direct from the new planet Earth, where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashionable dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss.